Tom, what's going on?
Hey, mate.
Full of energy.
Hey, mate.
Curtis is already 0.5 seconds into the episode. Curtis's hands.
God,
already.
he transformed from Jimmy Superbike Shaw.
Well, the thing is, and I don't want to make everyone feel bad because I'm better than everyone, but I went on a 20K run today.
Oh my God.
And then I got a massage, and then I fell asleep kind of through the massage. So I was a bit groggy. But as soon as it's lights, camera, action, and Curdy gives me the wink, I'm ready to go.
Oh, well, if Curdy gives the wink to anyone, it gets them up and about, literally. Oh wait, what a fantastic race last night! It was a strategic race in the F1s, so we got a lot to get through actually today.
We got no Daniel, we got a man down.
Yeah, it's become a bit of a common theme. Daniel, I
think Daniel, you got to lay off the zinger boxes, all right? Because you're always sick.
He's sick a lot.
Always sick. I don't know what's going on.
He seems to be sick when there's only F1 on as well. It's becoming a common theme. So if there's no MotoGP or Superbikes, he goes into his shell a bit. But
so Daniel, 20K run next Monday, and we'll make you feel better, all right?
He'll be back. MotoGP's back next week. So
awesome. Can't wait. Thank God.
First things first, James. As always, we have to say a big thank you to our partners at MJ Trading Cards. Please remember, listeners, we've got 15% off your first order with them if you haven't done your first order already. I mean, I know there's a few of you that have, but just to give you a quick rundown, MJ Trading Cards deals in all things sports card breakers. So 10 to 15 card breaks a day, usually at NBA, NFL. And I saw on the weekend that there was a signed Max Verstappen card going around. So
I did see that, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a little bit more coming on with that as well. So super excited. And then, MJTradingCards.com.au, guys, MSR15 for 15% off. Jump on now.
Hey, beautiful. And keep an eye out, start of next month, our Patreon episode. I had to get a few extra things for that today, so looking forward to it. It's going to be an unfiltered, we tell all on MotoGP, F1, and whatever else you guys want to talk about.
Yes.
We'll do some more hot takes, so give us your craziest.
The hot takes have been amazing.
Hot takes is everything now. That's
and
all
then,
I think
and
about.
then later in the show, which you'll see in the headline, we have a very special guest as well.
Yeah, for this episode.
Mr. Travis Auld from the Grand Prix Corporation. So stay tuned for that. That'll be coming up later in the podcast.
Yeah, and keep an eye on all our socials. We'll put up some more Patreon stuff on where to find everything as well. So looking forward to that one as well. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, Patreon's going to be really, really interesting. I'm super excited. So jump on board.
Couple frothies.
Oh mate, a couple. Oh my God.
How many you reckon?
We'll try to get a carton going.
Starting carton?
Imagine getting the carton through the pod. What would you give me, Curdy? Get the microphone going, Kirk. What are you doing? Anyway, we'll get him going later. He's warming up. James, go through some results first, F1.
All right, Spanish Grand Prix. So winner, we had Max Verstappen. Second, Lando Norris. Third, Lewis Hamilton. Fourth, George Russell. Fifth, Charles Leclerc. Sixth, Carlos Sainz. Seventh, Oscar Piastri. Eighth, Sergio Perez. Ninth, Pierre Gasly. And 10th, Esteban Ocon.
Well, yeah, where do you start? I mean, I just think amazing result for Max. I don't think Red Bull has the dominance as they once had. I think it's changing.
Yeah. I think it's purely on Max Verstappen. It's always purely on Max Verstappen's driving style and how good he is. And I think I want to talk about, if people haven't seen it, when he did that lap of Bathurst. We were just talking about that before on the sim racing. Yeah,
Sean from, I'll get his business name later, but yeah, I mean, that lap from Bathurst in the dark.
Yeah, never been there or something like that. Never done the sim or whatever.
He's never raced there before, and he just knows exactly where to put the car. So, yeah, super. He's just a talent, and just a talent of a generation. And once in every 10 years, we talk about this on the pod quite a lot. So he had to make that move at the start of the race.
Against George Russell.
It looked so hard. Passing was so hard. You had to have such a tyre advantage through the whole, like, even it was the DRS is strong down that straight, he still needed a big tyre advantage. I mean, even Norris passing Hamilton with that massive tyre advantage still took a few corners to get the deal done. So he had to get that pass done then. And then obviously I think it shows by the end of the race, if Norris didn't have that bad start, he probably would have won that race.
Yeah. Like it's a hard one to call, but you got to have the good starts, you got to have the good pit stops. Everything has to come together, and like they talked about that. But I'm thinking, to be a race winner and to be a world champion, you have to put all these things together. You can't be a Maverick Vinales and fluff to start every weekend. Be like, oh well, he could have won this, he could have won that. Like you got to do it all, and obviously with F1, it's even more of a team effort. Like he had it was a 3.9 second pit stop, and he just got out of the Mercedes, but like that's 2 seconds down the road. It was only 5 seconds behind. Then you get a bit more closer to their toe. Like those critical errors and pit stops, like it's a very underrated thing, but man, it can really ruin your race.
It was a really interesting strategic race, as we touched on earlier. And the other thing was, I'm still a huge fan of track position in Formula One. I think track position is still number one. I think what they did with Norris's pit stop, like keeping him out longer, I think it went to his demise to a certain extent. He made it up, yes, he nearly still won the race, but I think leaving him for that long, having to pass those 2 to 3 cars, I mean, if they brought him in when everyone else came in, he would have come out second. He probably would have been 8 seconds behind Max, and it would have just been a nice, clean, because he had the pace, as well. He had the pace. So I'm in Formula One, track position is always number one.
Yeah, it is.
But
really
how's Norris? Like he's turned a switch where I'm not going to call him he's arrogant, but he's confident. I mean,
he's not just there to come second or third. He's there to win the race, and I like that. That's really good, and it really has switched in the past few races, hasn't it?
He goes,
he's won. Really.
I could have won that race. He said, like, I'm not going for third. I'm going for first. You know, like, and I think him getting that first win as well has just taken that monkey off the back.
I think that's what you have to be, though. You got to be ruthless. You got to be like that as to be a race winner. Like you can't just settle for second best.
Yeah, exactly right.
And it seems like they got a bit more of a package underneath them now.
Really disappointing weekend for Piastri. I think he got unlucky in qualifying where they kept saying he went for one run in Q3, but I think his first lap was deleted or something because he actually his name went flying down the order. But the viewers can probably correct me on that one. But yeah, I mean, starting 10th and having all those strong cars in front of you now, you've got 5 teams that are fighting for top 10. Alpine are back now.
What's the go? I thought Ocon was losing his seat.
He is, but not until the end of the year.
Oh, I thought it was after like 2 rounds.
No, they're just not renewing his contract.
Ah, okay. I must have read that wrong.
So, right. But like them now, and with Flavio Briatore, which we'll actually, I want to talk to you about later before we finish F1 because it's an interesting appointment after his history. So, but yeah, I mean, if you start 10th, you're behind. You're in the mix with Perez somehow. I don't know.
He's so nowhere.
Oh,
Has even got another drive
and arguably the best car now. But you got Alpine up there. You got the Ferraris looking probably like the 4th best team on the weekend, which they were like solidly second best, you know. And then Mercedes looks strong. I mean, I said to you at the start of I said they got good race pace, and then they probably Karun actually said later, he goes, "Oh, the race pace wasn't there." I thought I disagree with him there, but it's
give him a call, let him know that.
I gave Sam a message when we were chatting. Karun Chanduk, my boy. But yeah, I mean, I think it really shows that the Red Bull reign is over. And
to an extent.
Max is still there. Max is still number one. Yeah. He's the best driver on the grid.
Yeah.
100%. But their full dominance, Perez finishing 8th, 9th, wherever he finished. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, and it's a track where I think Red Bull's proven like last year he won by, he almost lapped the field.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Where now it's only 5 seconds, whatever he won by. Like, it is the dominance is definitely over to an extent, but he still keeps pulling race wins at the same time.
It does, yeah. He still keeps getting the points, and probably his closest championship battle was Leclerc, and I think Leclerc is just the Ferrari hasn't been there.
So has Mercedes come back with some more upgrades or something like that? Where have they found this?
Okay. New front wing, new floor. It's sort of clicked finally after 2 to 3 years for them. So. But I mean, still, there's not a dominance there. Yes, George Russell's moved first on the first corner was insane, but you could see they just still weren't there. They didn't have the pace, you know. Perez just Verstappen just had to turn it on and pass him at that point. If you didn't pass him at that point, as we touched on earlier, it could have been a different race. But
it's interesting though between Formula One and MotoGP. Like F1, all you need is one good upgrade, and like you're right there. You're right there in the mix again.
Yeah.
Like Mercedes or McLaren last year.
Yeah.
Where in MotoGP, it seems like the development takes 5 years.
Yeah,
You know what I mean, though?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think it's because it's so aero based.
Yeah.
Has got to be the difference because their upgrades are always aero.
Isn't it? Yeah.
And it's, I mean, there's an extent, I mean, aero in MotoGP obviously is such a contentious issue at the moment, but like it doesn't affect the bikes nearly as much as what a Formula One car does.
And there's more car, there's more downforce, there's more everything of
Yeah.
a F1 car.
But a triple header. So next week we've got Spielberg, which is a great double header for MotoGP F1 next weekend.
They don't have the chicane, do they?
No.
Oh, thank God. Thank God.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so.
They better not.
Oh, they better not. That is.
I don't think they do for F1. That's a great track.
This might actually like get as much attention as how I don't like the special liveries comment. But I don't.
Still to this day, the worst thing ever said on the internet, and I've heard some bad things on the internet, Gertie. I send them to you on a daily.
They're not bad. They're factual.
Instagram reels, bruh.
I see why they had to do that chicane at Spielberg. I know how bad it sounds
For GP.
Yeah, like it is.
It almost sent
kill the-
Rossi to yeah.
Because that a fast corner like that at the end of the straight is just so. It's so dangerous on a bike.
And if anyone hasn't seen that, you're an F1 fan listening, whatever.
Yep.
What year was that?
2020.
2020 or 2021? Are you able to Google that, Katie? Just type in Austria, Rossi, Vinales, Rossi near miss crash, something like that. It'll come up. I think it was 2021.
Well, it was when they had two races because I think the first race, Vinales ran out of brakes. Was that the same weekend or the same week?
Yeah, it was either the same weekend or the next week. I think it was maybe you're right. Maybe it was 2020. What do we got? We're not going 1 to 10 this time, at least.
It's painful.
2020 Austrian MotoGP race, collision between Johann Zarco and
that's
Franco
the one.
Morbidelli caused their bikes to fly across turn.
I'm sure that was race 2 as well. I think race 1, Vinales had the brake failure, or opposite. Maybe.
I think it was opposite.
Yeah, just a
That was
crazy.
wild.
And that was COVID hitting and sport back, and it was like the most craziest race
And
ever.
Moto 2 had a massive crash that weekend as well.
Yoni Hernandez.
Was that Hernandez?
Yep, got hit in the middle of the track up to turn 1.
Oh my God, that was just as bad.
That was a train wreck. I couldn't believe that was a human body, you know.
Yeah, that was literally JR.
Yeah. Jim Ross.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, look, I don't think they use a chicane going back.
No, they wouldn't. They don't. And the other thing is, it's such an interesting track for F2 and F3 as well because it's just DRS city there. DRS. The F3 cars around there, it's like Moto 3. It is insane. So
I'll have to watch it.
One to watch this week. I mean, there's a lot of sport coming up this weekend because we've got obviously at Assen as well, which we'll touch on soon. But it's exciting track, and then Silverstone. After that,
Oh, yeah, beautiful.
Silverstone interestingly came out, and they haven't sold out.
Okay.
They have not sold out. You got to remember Australian Grand Prix was sold out 6 months.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. There's been a bit of a toing and froing between the Silverstone promoters and Max. So Silverstone has sort of thrown a little bit of a blaming Red Bull their dominance on the ticket sales, and Max has gone back and saying, "Hang on a second, you're the third most expensive ticket, 3-day ticket in on the calendar." And it's not my fault. It's you're the promoter. In typical Max fashion. I mean, you have to see the interview. It's hilarious. He's like, well, "This is ridiculous. Why are you blaming me? Like, it's been one of the most exciting seasons. Who's going to win now? Obviously, last year, but you can't blame me.
Of course not. His job's there to win, not to. He wouldn't care if there's 10 people or 300,000 people. As long as he wins.
I know, it was it's so ridiculous. So it could have been a bit of a trying to get some attention to Silverstone to try to get those last tickets sold. But they had 480,000 people last year.
They're the number one attended Grand Prix, aren't they? Silverstone.
Australia could knock them off this year.
Yeah, right. What do you got there, Kurt? Are you looking at something?
Which we'll touch with Travis shortly.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at Lewis Hamilton was stating about it being, it's Lewis Hamilton says that Silverstone needs to ensure that its Formula One ticket pricing strategy does not get out of hand, citing rising living costs as British Grand Prix prices rise.
First normal thing he's said in about 25 years, I reckon, Lewis Hamilton.
Remaining 4-day grandstand tickets are all priced at £600.
Yeah, it's $1,000
for a 3-day
General
grandstand.
admission
That's a
that
lot of
span
money.
currently available for over £400.
I have to give it to
That's a lot of money.
the Australian Grand Prix promoters, which we're going to talk to shortly. They are probably the lowest 5 in cost.
Okay.
China is the cheapest at like $200 for a 3-day ticket.
Oh, you got to work in a paddock for about 6 months though to get your ticket.
You got to join the Communist Party.
Yeah.
But like I think you might get the stats up there, Curtis. Ticket price. Las Vegas $1,700 for a 3-day pass.
Oh my god, Miami would be that.
Miami's
as well.
second.
Yeah,
Miami's
typical
second, and I
Americans
think
commercialize everything.
I think Silverstone is third on the list, which doesn't make sense because I understand Vegas. I don't understand Miami, but I understand Vegas.
What do you mean? I don't understand Miami. I understand Miami being expensive.
I understand it being expensive, but the second most expensive, like.
It doesn't. I'm telling you, the Americans, a lot of the Americans, but they commercialize everything,
Yeah,
and
it's
everything
true.
just gets bumped up. You know. What do we got, Katie?
Just trying to look at it now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cheers, mate. So far, what I can see, the most expensive tickets in 2023 offered Las Vegas average was $1,500 USD, followed by Miami, which was $1,100 USD.
So is Silverstone third?
It's not giving me yet. I'm trying to
Okay.
wait for it to load. But other high ticket prices included Mexico, Monaco, Britain, Abu Dhabi, and Singapore. Singapore probably because of taxes and all that crap.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise. Like that's just an expensive place.
But it's interesting what Mark Dan Bandana Danby said on the pod, who's been to a lot of different races in the world. He goes, one of the cheapest races to go to is like Bahrain.
Yeah, he has said that.
Super cheap race to go to. Ticket prices are really cheap because it's not it's just hard to get people there.
Yeah, and I guess like I think it's a big bloody money laundering thing for them these days.
Well,
Seriously.
that's an accusation. Probably fair enough. It's a sport washing.
Sport washing, that's what it's called. Yeah, that's why they do it.
Well,
Curtis?
here we go. So the third most expensive was Mexico.
Yeah.
Really? That's
at
surprising.
$688. Monaco was next at $677. Austin, Texas, $667.
So America's 3 out of the top 6.
Yeah.
And then it gets to Britain at roughly around about 556. Abu Dhabi, Singapore, Netherlands, Belgium, Saudi Arabia,
Yeah,
Sao
okay.
Paulo, and just
So is it got the 3 cheapest? What's the 3 cheapest? there, Curtis?
Hungary is the cheapest, $184. Japan, $231. Bahrain, $265.
There
There you
you
go.
go. There you go.
Nice.
Well,
That's
China
good.
wasn't there in 23, I suppose, was it? So
Yeah, interesting. Hey, who's our? We haven't discussed this. I'm going to put you on the spot. Who's our MJ performance of the week?
Oh, gee. Well, I can't believe you brought that up. My MJ performance of the week is Adrian Newey.
Okay.
Adrian Newey, I think, from good source, has signed with Aston Martin
I've heard a few things.
on a massive pay packet.
What are we
massive.
looking?
At north of 100 a year, north of a hunch.
That's a few sim races right there.
Oh, so he's my performance of the week because he's played his cards so right. And look, I think he's the best in the business.
Yeah.
And being the best at something in the world, you have to be paid for it. Lewis Hamilton is paid X amount of dollars for his championship years because he was the best in the business. But yeah, I mean, performance of the week. He's an incredible card designer, builder, and he's won that many world championships over the years. So I've got on good authority that he heard it here first that the signature has happened.
Karun tell you?
Karun did not tell me. No, he told me some other things I can't say, but yeah, super excited for that. So make sure MJ Trading Cards, jump on their website, 15% off, MSR15. Okay.
Why Aston Martin?
Aston Martin, I think money. Daddy Stroll's got the cash.
Okay.
I think he wants a new challenge.
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing, and it's a manufacturer that, man, imagine that team winning a championship.
Yeah, it's cool.
Like it would be the new Red Bull coming through, I would say, to a certain extent, and obviously not a factory team using customer engines.
Yeah, so what is Aston, like I obviously don't know, but what is Aston Martin? Are they everything themselves, engine, everything? Or
No,
how does it all
Aston
run?
Martin used the Mercedes engine.
Okay.
So that's their Mercedes
Like customer
customer.
almost? Yeah.
Yep. I believe actually, Curtis. Can you? I'm saying this, but I'm actually questioning myself at the same time.
We're all about false facts around here anyway.
Yeah. I can't believe I have to Google this, but I have to. Yeah, Mercedes engine. Okay, thank God. Sorry. Jeez, I run a bloody F1 podcast. I don't know that. The viewers would have absolutely crucified me. They run a Mercedes engine, and going into 2026, new regs, it's going to be a lot of engine. So engine's going to be like it was back in 2014 when Mercedes came out. Can Mercedes do it again? If Mercedes do it again, and then you got Adrian Newey building a chassis around that engine, it could be a championship winning formula.
I like it.
You've also got Audi coming in, building their own engine as well.
Yeah.
So that's going to be super exciting. So, yeah.
So if he signs with Aston Martin and you had to... What's the odds of Aston Martin... Just say something. When would he sign? Next year?
Oh, I think he's finishing Red Bull this year.
This year.
I'm not sure if it's out of respect or something. He's holding the announcement till the end of the year or something along the line. I don't know how you can keep an announcement for that long anyway. But yeah, and he'll start probably January 1st, I suppose.
Okay, so just say he starts in 2025. What's the likelihood of Aston Martin then winning a title in the next 5 years to 10 years with him on board?
I would say it's north of 50% chance. It's better than a 50-50 odds.
Okay.
If there's so many questions, though, is this Mercedes engine going to be up to it? Can they do it again? Is Ford going to come in and build a great engine? Is Audi going to come in and build a great engine?
It must be hard, though, to come in and then just hit the right formula.
There is.
Straight from,
it is, but I think they've simplified this engine to a certain extent, which we touched on last week about using more of the MGU H system rather than the K system, or it's vice versa. So it's simplified the engine, and that's why there's new manufacturers coming in, because they can develop this easier. It doesn't have to. You don't have to spend.
Yeah.
This is what's crazy about MotoGP going to those 800cc engines. Like, it's going to cost millions of dollars to develop that engine. Everyone's going to have to spend so much money and resources on building that. Like, for what? To slow them down slightly?
I know.
You can do that in other ways.
I know. That's a whole nother conversation though. But sometimes I just feel like, we just need to just change something.
Yeah.
And some dude in Spain's just going, we're just gonna change something.
I swear that's what it's like sometimes.
Because there's people, we can be super technical about it and that's great, but I don't really know if it's gonna do much. You're still gonna have the same accidents. And the thing is, we always say, just because they're slower, as long as the racing's good, I don't really care. But it's just a lot of money to put in for a gamble.
Yeah.
Because they went 800s and that didn't work.
What, it lasted 3 years?
Yeah, it worked for Casey Stoner and that was about it.
Now, I want to jump on something interesting. Flavio Briatore.
Okay.
He was the instigator in the 2008 Crashgate scandal. Okay.
Run me through that.
So, Fernando Alonso was faster weekend at the 2008 Singaporean Grand Prix. Faster weekend, but had a fuel pump issue in qualifying. Qualified right back. He, in the race, pit stop, came in, came out, not really anywhere flash. Flavio Briatore, team principal of Renault, won 2 championships at Benetton and 2 championships with Fernando Alonso at Renault. Somehow got Nelson Piquet Jr., Alonso's teammate, to purposely crash. I think it was turn 15. Safety car came out. Back in those days, if you pitted and the safety car came out, how the regs was like you were on. Because everyone had to slow down before they got in the pits, but you could still go at a faster pace if you already pitted, something along the lines of that. He came out first. Fernando won the race. Years later, Flavio Briatore got done for that. So the FIA did a review of it, went to Nelson Piquet Jr. and said, if you tell us what happened and tell us the truth, you will be spared. You'll be nothing wrong. You'll have no fines. You'll have no bans. And he told him everything. And Flavio Briatore then got banned for life.
Yeah, right.
From the F1 paddock. So a lot of people, F1 fans at home, would know that story, but if you just started following it, you wouldn't know that. 2013 comes around. His ban got lifted from a lifetime ban to, I'm probably going to be stand corrected in this, I think it was a 10-year ban. So went to about 2018. He's now been appointed a chief advisor at Alpine.
Right.
From today onwards.
Yeah, I did see something on that.
So it's a really interesting thing. It's very un-Formula One-like very French, but un-Formula One-like to get someone with this checkered past to come back in.
Sounds very MotoGP-like.
And I mean, yeah. Well, the thing is this guy destined for that top job again? Are they slowly introducing him back into the team and then So time will tell. But he's a very smart individual. A lot
Yeah.
of stuff's been said online about what he did and how terrible it is and how he should never be back in. I personally think he's done his time that fit the crime, and he should be allowed back in. But we'll see how this goes. He's funnily enough, Fernando Alonso's manager as well.
There you go.
Bit of an interest there, where Fernando Alonso had a bit of a falling out with Alpine, so it's a bit of a stepdad mess. But we'll see what happens. It's just a really interesting thing that happened over the weekend.
Good to talk about.
Yeah, so super excited for what happens next year, because the Alpine, funnily enough, like he's getting interviewed on the grid, Flavio, and they're like, "Oh, they're both in the top 10. What have you done?" He's like, "I just got off the plane. Like I didn't do anything."
Good French accent.
And it was a great call. Like, oh, it's so funny. I don't know. I just got off the plane. Like, why are you asking me this question? It was so funny. So just a bit of a interesting take for the weekend.
That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, how did you find George Russell's first corner move? I was impressed.
Really impressed. I think he had the run, he had the speed and the right line, and I think they were just squabbling over their positions. Obviously, Max and Lando.
Too harsh on the
Nah. That's racing. That's
Good,
racing.
good,
That's
good
racing.
take.
No, 100%. I
Good
think he
take.
actually could have pushed him harder off the track, to be honest.
Nice.
You looked at what happened to Ricardo back 2017, 18 in Australia. He got wiped off the track, front wing gone.
I do remember that.
No penalty there. So, yeah, no, definitely not harsh. But yeah, great move from Russell. But yeah, and what did he end up finishing? Fourth? I mean,
Third. Fourth, sorry. Fourth,
yeah,
you're right.
yeah, Hamilton passed him.
Mistake.
So yeah, I mean, that didn't really work for him, and it really showed the lack of pace. I don't know why they put it on hard tyres as well. The hard tyres they didn't run all weekend. Just one of those tyre gambles that we know that never pay off.
Never works. Never works.
So
that's not even a hot take. That's not even a hot take.
No, just yeah. I don't know why they did that. And the soft tyres were lasting. I mean, it was interesting looking at the F2 and F3 race. Those tyres went off the cliff. You can see the difference. I mean, obviously different rubber compound and everything, but the experience of the F1 drivers, I mean,
management.
It correlates.
Yeah,
it definitely correlates. So they had 5 laps to go. They were like, it was like watching in Barcelona, going back to Moto 3 or was Moto 2, and that was Moto 2. Was it Alonso? Lopez. That was at Catalonia as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, when his tyres went off the cliff.
It was exactly the same situation.
Yeah,
like the F2 and the F3 guys were just like around that third corner, that long right-hander, just had no grip at all. So same track. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Very rough, abrasive.
It's
track.
always been just very hard on tyre
And
wear.
42-degree track temperature.
Yeah, right.
Crazy,
With
huh?
like 20% chance of rain. There's big dark clouds in the background. but
Yeah, I
nothing
know.
happened.
Yeah, rain's annoying now. Like I hate worrying about like watching the race and go, oh, is it going to rain? Is it going to rain? Is it going to rain? Like
Giving you anxiety.
I'd rather just not know the forecast. If it starts raining, then that'd be cool. Like I hate and then I'm like on the weather app, like Catalonia weather app, trying to figure it out. It's in Spanish and shit. Like, like I just want to watch the race. Let me watch it.
The Bureau of Meteorology. The bomb.
Yeah, it's called something different over there.
128 kilometers.
They did invent astrology, the Spanish, didn't they? Or was that the Portuguese?
Astrology?
Yeah.
Greeks, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
they
I
did
think,
a
I,
lot-
think, I think that's the one thing they've only done, but unfortunately the Greeks that and Euros. Nah, they're all right. Don't make good motorcycles, but
They do not. They don't make good machinery at all.
randomly good at basketball doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
don't
Only
know.
in the Olympics, but I suppose where else are you going to play? Anyway, jump on to the next. Have you got any more F1 stuff for me?
You know what I noticed? Okay, I don't know if I'm just being retarded my whole life, but has there always been a bridge on the end of that back
No,
straight?
they
Is
just
that
built
new?
that. They
I
just
was,
built that.
I was freaking out
Yeah.
watching it. Like I thought I was seeing things.
It's interesting though. Actually, I was watching the post-race stuff, and they just built it. Like they were still finishing it, but they had it. They had people in there. It was a
yeah, I did notice that.
It was a 10,000. No, it must have been 1,000-person hospitality
right.
room.
Right.
So yeah, insane. Apparently, don't know if it's a great spot to watch. I think you'd see the front straight from there as well. You'd probably see the last
and
corner.
you'd see the last section though,
Yeah,
wouldn't
no,
you?
it would be probably pretty cool. And
It'd have to be.
It's obviously a bridge from where the front pits are, so like it's easy access as well.
Yeah. I was just freaking out because I'm like, I've never noticed that.
No, that's
I don't know.
it's a good point. I was actually going to bring that up with you. I was thinking in practice. I'm like, what is that? Was that always there, or because that track
Because
changed?
MotoGP was just there like
Yeah.
a month ago, and I'm thinking,
True.
I don't remember seeing a bridge there.
Oh my god, they must have built that so quickly.
I don't think I've ever seen the Spanish work so hard. No fiestas for them.
No, it's normally they call it Thai time because like you get things built in Thailand. It takes like 3 years. They call it Thai time.
I had a boss that used to call someone that was from overseas, and I'm not going to say any more than that, but he was very lazy, and he's like, "Oh, you got to stay off island time," and I was like, "Borderline racism, bro."
That's disgusting. It's simply disgusting.
He's on island time.
Save that for the Patreon, bro.
Yeah, sure. I'll tell you more about it on the Patreon.
How do people like subscribe to Patreon? Do they
download the app, Patreon app, whatever it is, and just look up Motorsport Republica.
Cool, and then
you'll
they
find
just
it.
subscribe to it. I think we got it's $5 a month.
$10, I think $10 a month. We're going to do that, and then we're going to do an episode.
Yeah, we're also going to do like obviously random merch giveaways and stuff for our Patreon listeners and stuff. So just jump on board, guys. It's a membership program. You're not just going to see our faces once extra episode a month. You'll see some more stuff as well.
Just fund our stuff, please, because we're all broken poor.
Yes, we are. But we love doing this.
It's the best.
Yeah.
I love talking about it.
Guys, welcome back. We have a very special guest on the podcast today, Travis Auld from the Australian Grand Prix Corporation. CEO, James.
CEO, how did we do this?
Thanks to Joey from the corporation for getting Travis to come. Appreciate that. Thank you, mate, for having us at this amazing facility.
Thank you, and welcome to the Stoner Room. It's great to have you both here.
It's very exciting. It's just walking into this place is incredible. It's this Mick Doohan CBR thousands. There's Mark Marquez. I was very close to just walking out with two of these bikes, so it's looking very cool.
Lots of memorabilia.
Yeah,
lots of different frames, lots of different paintings and tyres and all sorts of stuff.
It's all been logged, so you can't take any with you. We've got security here full time, so
yeah, I saw you had to tap yourself in and tap yourself
That's
out.
it.
So
I can't just ratchet strap a tyre on the top of our car and drive it home back on the freeway.
Yeah.
Now, tickets are on sale, MotoGP Australia this year. So just wanted to let everyone know that, which we're super hyped about. James and I personally, we've been going there since, 15 years, 20 years?
At least we've been going since we're little kids. Like I used to go back when I was in primary school in the back of my dad's 996 and ride down every year. And then we used to go as kids with our families and stay at your family's places in Phillip Islands. So it's... We always call Phillip Island MotoGP Christmas for us because it's better than Christmas. It's better than anything else. We've been going down forever, and it's always so exciting. And the event seems to always get bigger and bigger every year. And maybe as we got older, it's got a bit more blurrier and blurrier because of the pub in town. But that's okay.
It's so I started this role back in August last year, and so my first event was Phillip Island, and I've been to Phillip Island lots of times. I'd certainly driven past the track plenty of times, but I'd never been to a MotoGP event. And I'd seen it on television lots of times, but I was completely blown away by the sport live. These athletes are incredible. What they do, the atmosphere down there is unbelievable. And anyone I convince them to get down there for the event and see it live, and I guarantee you'll go every year thereafter.
100%. Look, the Formula One event here is amazing. It's probably the best event of the whole year, I would say. But we have to get people to know how good that event down is at Phillip Island. Yes, it's a trip, but 2 hours on the bike, 2 hours in the car, free parking this year as well. I think that's going to be a huge thing for the event, and you just got to get down there, experience. As you said, Travis, once you're down there, you hear the engines, the crowd, the atmosphere, the smell, the exhaust. I mean, it's all these little things. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and I think you would say too that it's the trip that makes it.
Yeah.
People plan it from a long time out. They gather all their friends and family and get organised. And so, tickets went on sale last week. Still plenty of accommodation available on the island. I'd encourage anyone who's been before to go again to quickly get their tickets. But if you haven't been before, give it a go. Yeah. Get down there for a day and check it out. It's an unbelievable atmosphere. It's a great way to spend some time with some friends, and we've organised some really good weather this year.
Now, do you know the trick with the weather on Phillip Island? There's a superstition around it.
Can you share it, please?
So for everyone listening as well, the trick to get good weather is from San Remo to Phillip Island, the bridge, you have to hold your breath driving over. That's the superstition.
I'm happy to hold my breath away from Melbourne because you mean that the weather's better.
We've trademarked that.
So. We're going to trademark that. We might need a Republica flag on top of the bridge or something like that.
I'm sure you've got a few surprises for us this year at MotoGP down at Phillip Island. You keen to share anything with us today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you two would know better than anyone, last year was difficult for fans. We
The last 2 years.
well, last 2 years it has, yeah.
Yeah.
And certainly last year, particularly with having to change the Sunday to the Saturday and missing out on the sprint. And luckily we did. Got to Sunday sort of lunchtime, and it was pretty clear that we wouldn't have been able to have a race. And so for those that are able to change their plans and get there on the Saturday or there anyway, we're glad we did that. But we know there was disruption. And so the big part of this year is to get those that have sort of been very loyal to the event back there again and repay that loyalty. We've done that in a few ways. We've held prices for our island passes, our GAs. We have made motorbike parking free. And so we think that's really important. So we're trying to make it as affordable as we can for those. And then there's a bunch of little sort of surprise and delights that I'm not going to give you today. I've been told I'm not allowed to. But there's a few things coming. Just watch. But then again, the other big part for me, again, being sort of relatively new to the sport, is the amount of changes that are occurring around the riders and the teams. And I was speaking to the guys from Dorna last night, Carlos, who runs Motorsport at Dorna, and this is the thing that sports live off. They love the storytelling, they love the narrative that sits behind the sport. And so there's all this anticipation that's sort of playing out over the season, and then the championship itself is really close. So there's lots and lots of things to look forward to. Yeah,
I think you're in a great position. 2025 is going to be probably one of the most amazing seasons with MotoGP's history. I think Marquez going to Factory Ducati is going to shake it up massively. And we always talk about on the pod, they are very friendly, these guys. Like you look back at Rossi, Biaggi era, and there was hatred. There really was. Not saying that's going to happen, but it's going to be a great storyline for us to listen to and watch. So
yeah, and as you said, going into next year, it's so wide open. We don't know what's happening. Literally, we filmed our first part of the podcast last night, and 20 minutes later, Marco Bezzecchi signs for Aprilia. It's all happening at the same time.
Aprilia, a whole new lineup. It's going to be. That's another thing. We've got Acosta coming up as well. The young kid, he's going to be a world champion. So there's lots to look forward to.
Yeah, and that's not dissimilar to F1. There's changes happening everywhere, and there's those stories that are starting to build. And so we've still got a season to play out, an interesting season to play out. And we've got our own Jack Miller sitting there without a seat at the moment. And so we're sort of barracking every day that the news comes through, he finds a seat and a good one, and continues his journey.
Yeah, well, there was rumours, I know we were speaking about last night as well, rumours of going to Grassini, Ducati as well, with Alex Marquez. So we were just saying that would be a fantastic spot for him to be on that bike. Like, Marc Marquez is doing awesome on it. Alex Marquez has done pretty good on it as well. And it's a capable bike. And that GP24, what he would be on, is easily the best bike on the grid so far. So
yeah, I think he feels like he's got a point to prove as well. And so, you get an athlete like that who's been there, competed at the level, won at the level. Yeah. It's pretty exciting for us.
Yeah, and a great personality as well. Obviously, we love following. I was saying to the ladies when we're having a coffee that these young kids coming through, the Jacob Rulestone, Senna Aegis, Joel Calso, we've all had them on the podcast, and just the intensity that they show and obviously the raw talent. It's something to really look forward to as well.
Yeah, and I think there's still more opportunity there. I mean, we've seen with F1, with Liberty Media, how they've opened up the sport and introduced us to the personalities sort of under the helmet. And so I think that's a big opportunity for MotoGP, is to get to know these riders more. When you're in a privileged position like us where you do get to meet them and spend time with them, you just see there's so much more. They've got so much personality and so much to offer. That it's only upside, I think, for the sport.
100%. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, mate. You started. I'm a big Essendon fan, so I remember you back in the days when I was a little tacker and you were involved with them. So the last James to remind me, the last time we had success was between the 2009 when you were there. So how was the transition to the AFL, and obviously the transition to the job as the CEO of the Grand Prix Corporation?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a good time to be an Essendon supporter, I must say. I don't want to jinx you, but
they're doing well.
So I've spent almost all of my career in sport, and pretty much all of that up until now in AFL. That's been incredible. Some 10 years, 11 years at Essendon Footy Club in a period where they didn't really lose very often, and so that was a lot of fun. Then to the opposite, to head up to the Gold Coast, where they didn't win very often, and you're trying to build a club from scratch and do it the right way in a place that hadn't had its own football club, its own team before. And so that was an unbelievable experience. And then after 5 years, come to AFL head office and 10 years there, and to see the growth of the sport during that time, and to play a role in trying to sort of equalise the sport and give every team a chance to win. I feel blessed. I've had an incredible run at it. And then, you know, at the stage of my career, to get the opportunity to go into a different sport, and particularly where this you know, organisation is at, and the incredible job it's done with the 2 events, is a really exciting time to get involved in. It's healthy to feel a bit out of your depth again. You know, I don't know much about motorsport, and that's what excites me. I'm learning every day from people in the organisation. I'm learning every day from people who run these sports, and from guys like you two who know a lot and it's been part of your lives, and I'm loving it, loving every minute of it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Motorsports are such a big thing in Australia, but it's also very close knit. A lot of people know each other, and you've obviously found that in the last year. Because I mean, we have mutual friends who've come up to us. Yeah, we know Travis from, you know, other things and other events.
It's such a small community. Like, just the motorcycle industry itself is a tiny community. Everyone knows everyone. But it must be interesting coming from like the AFL to Formula One and MotoGP, because Formula One has boomed. Like, no one really saw it coming through Liberty Media, but you're seeing Formula One, how massive it is in Australia and worldwide. And then you're kind of seeing MotoGP, who's now just being taken over by Liberty Media. That's now, I still think is going to boom. It's always still been, I wouldn't say niche in Australia, but a little bit. But now it's, I think, like even going back to last year, we went on the Friday, how busy it was on the Friday.
Yeah, insane.
And it's just, I think it's just, you're going to find out more about the personalities. And I reckon you're going to see that boom again as well, because there's a lot more people talking about it. And it's, Formula One kind of had that period in 2021, I believe, when Verstappen beat Hamilton.
It's a perfect storm. It was Netflix coming out, and then they had probably the greatest season of Formula One history.
And I think MotoGP is getting to that stage, as in you've got all this craziness of rider transfers, rivalries, and now and then it's getting taken over by Liberty Media, and I think it's just going to skyrocket again.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I having been in sport for a long time, have kept an eye on other sports, particularly the global sports. And like you've said, we saw there was a bit of good luck, but there was a lot of good management and good thinking in what Liberty did. They had the Drivers' 5 ready to go just as COVID kicked in. Every person in the world was sitting on their couch looking for something to do. It got released at the right time, and so everyone watched it. But it had to be good, and it was. Lots of other sports have tried to emulate that sort of production and bring in their personalities or athletes out, and some have done a good job and some haven't done as well. And so full credit to what they've been able to do. And now we see, we're very fortunate in Australia in both sports that we're represented on the grid. You know, we punch well above our weight. Again, we're barracking for Jack Doohan to get on the grid, and who knows where that's going to end up. But so that helps a lot when we can anchor the sport back to us.
Yeah.
But the other thing I've learned is, if you think about Phillip Island, I've done a lot of reading. I keep an eye on what they're talking about around the world in terms of MotoGP. And every time they talk to a rider about their favourite track, Phillip Island's in the top couple. They love Phillip Island, and so we've got this asset. And there's things we can do better, no doubt about that, and we're very focused on that. But we're very lucky to have such an iconic circuit that's spoken about so favourably by the riders.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a contentious issue down there with the facilities down at Phillip Island, but the track is just like the most amazing circuit in the world, and like to put it at the Bend or to put it somewhere else would just be, I mean, a travesty, wouldn't it?
Yeah, sorry, Adelaide.
Because it's just that rawness that's down there. And it is funny, you go to the back of the pits and you go into the bathroom and you got Marc Marquez down in the urinal next to you. Like, they don't experience that anywhere.
Nah, that's right. And another thing people don't realise is you can be at turn one and you can almost put your hand out and touch the rider in front of you. And you can't do that at a lot of tracks around the world. Mugello, you know, amazing as it is it's really fenced off. That's because it's crazy Italians trying to jump the fence all the time. But that's what's so good. The access to Phillip Island is incredible.
Yeah, and if there's opportunity, I'd rather it be in the facilities and the track. The facilities we can do something about.
Yeah.
To have an iconic track to work off is the greatest asset you can hope for. So we've got a contract through to 2026. I'm absolutely confident that'll get extended. And with a longer runway, we can do something with us and the landlord down there to improve the facilities. And we should do that. Every circuit around the world's doing it. Expectations of fans understandably grow when we need to make sure we meet their expectations.
Yeah, 100%. I think, but yeah, we we love it, and like we love the fact that it's a bit,
Bit raw.
bit raw. Yeah, I
It
think
probably suits a motorcyclist to a degree as well. A motorcycle fan's normally a pretty raw person at the same time, so it does suit it.
I'm sure you walk through the paddock at Formula One and then walk down the paddock at MotoGP, and it's a different experience. But
Yeah, and given we're one organisation who delivers both, we're going to make sure that they are unique, that they maintain their
Yeah.
personality, and that we don't try and roll one into the other. And so that is really, that's at the front of our mind. But in saying that, if you look at F1, there's still a lot of people who go because they want to watch every lap of the race and they understand everything that's going on with race strategy. But there's a whole lot of others just want to go for the experience, and we're going to make sure equally they're looked after.
Yeah, it's a great
We
point.
talk about Phillip Island, and we've got the hardcore fans there, and there's a lot of them, and they want to be there, and they're going to make every moment. They're going to enjoy every moment of it. We've got to broaden that experience for those that want to come for a day and are just learning about the sport. That yes, they can really get involved and embrace the racing, but there's other things to do, and so that's what's on our mind: is how do we broaden that as well.
No, it's a great point. And like when you do go down and you see someone coming out of, if you're going through I think gate 3 or gate 1, whatever it is, and you see the riders coming out of turn 12, it's really nothing like it. Like you see the bikes getting out of shape, you see them, how they move around the motorcycle. It's obviously a rider's track at the same time. And just to see that just firsthand is something else. And anyone that will go down there says the same thing.
Yeah, and just the sheer noise.
Yeah.
Of the bikes and just I think your point of how accessible it is. It's sort of right there, and having been down in the pits and you're sort of standing there talking to someone, all of a sudden sort of one nearly runs over the back of you.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
incredible
that's
how relatable and sort of accessible the sport is.
yeah, all the damaged bikes come in on the back of the little tow, and it's like, and then you see the mechanics grab the bike, start to fix it. You're like, this. Where else would you rather be?
Yeah, it's the ultimate.
So did you bring anything from your AFL time to the Grand Prix scenario? Was there something that you could emulate from that side of the sport to a new sport?
Yeah, there's no doubt that there's a lot of the learnings are transferable. There's no doubt about that. So there's two parts of that. One is yes, there's a product, and you've got to understand how you connect people to that product, and then build an experience around that, and make sure that it's fun and affordable and all those sort of things. But also coming into a new role like this is to be really curious about what's been done and what works, and not to think you're coming in with all the answers. And so I've been very mindful of that. I've asked more questions than I've offered in terms of answers. And so this organisation does an incredible job. Both sports do an incredible job. We've got people around the world doing what we do, once a year for each event, every other week. And so using that experience and learning, what can we learn from Singapore and F1? What can we learn from Magellan in MotoGP?
That's right.
And so we're starting to build those relationships, or I am anyway, globally. Many already exist in the organisation, and working out how we can take little bits and pieces from what everyone else does and borrow them and bring them down here.
Beautiful.
So they had a bit of a technical difficulty there. That's fine.
Standard Republica.
I wanted to talk to you about the crowds at Formula One. So 480,000 roughly last year. Silverstone, there was some things during the week said that they're not getting the same crowd as they did last year. I think the Australian public's different. I think they'll just keep coming and coming and coming because it's just so hard. It's just so hard to get a ticket. And as soon as you take something away from someone, they want it more. Is there plans to break that 500 barrier?
So we had 450 last year.
Yep.
Silverstone had 480. Our crowds have grown by 50%, I think, since about 2018. So we had a huge growth in crowds. What I would say is we will never take for granted that fans will just keep buying tickets. Every year's a new year. Every year we've got to lift the bar again because their expectations increase, and so they should, and we've got to keep stepping up. And so that's at the forefront of our mind. The moment that this year's race finished, we sat down and spent a couple of days working out what worked, what didn't, importantly, how we can make the experience better. And so that will always be our mindset. There is a really good debate to be had internally for us about providing more access, because we can sell more tickets at the moment, but doing so without impacting the experience of those that are already coming, because there is a tipping point where, yes, we can get more people in the park. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
We've got a huge area to fill, which is fantastic, but the experience has still got to be sort of A+. And so I haven't got an answer for it at the moment in terms of exactly what we'll do for next year and tickets, but we're spending a lot of time challenging ourselves about what would it look like if we increased the capacities, what we would need to do internally, what we would need to do with people getting to and from the track, viewing, all that sort of stuff is really, really important because we don't want to become too greedy and keep increasing the crowds for the sake of it and at the expense of the experience. In saying that, we would like to be the biggest Grand Prix in the world and the best. And so there's an aspiration to grow. As I say, I'll say it again, not at the expense of those that are already coming.
I think the female audience in the last few years is just that's the biggest surprise for me. I've been watching F1 for all my life, and to see the female audience just become such just love the sport, and I think that's an amazing thing because then more people get involved. It becomes a bit more glamorous to a certain extent as well. And the other thing is it's around the world, it's just changing. It's changing so much.
Yeah, and I think it's the envy of a lot of other sports. I mean, this year, over 40% of those that attended were female.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And that's, I can't tell you what it was 10 years ago, but it wouldn't look anything like that.
I can tell you it wasn't 10.
Well, it wasn't 40%, no. It was 40 probably. And so, and that's about 10% higher than the global average. So not only is it incredible, but Australia and Melbourne and Albert Park are at the front of that queue. And we can do that with big events. Melbourne loves hosting big events. It loves showing what we can do. And it's doing that with this event. So you got that. The crowds are younger. A large portion of our crowds are under 35. A lot of people are coming trying it for the first time. And so all the pointers for us are really, really positive. We've just got to keep making sure that as the demographic changes of those that are coming along, so does the experience. And that'll always be the thing at the front of our minds.
Yeah, it's a great point you make, and a lot of our listeners as well in the Formula One portion, especially, is just younger females, and it's wild to see from when we used to go back when we were younger as well. It would just be old guys in Jack Daniels jumpers and watching the F1s and the V8s go around.
MotoGP now.
Yeah,
But the interesting thing is that one of the surprises for me is that the 40% females who are coming along aren't just coming along for the event and the party and the atmosphere. A lot of them are very connected to the racing.
yeah, they are definitely.
They know what's
100%.
happening, and I'm learning a lot, particularly from those in our office, about how it works and what to look for. And so I think it's fascinating to see it play out.
You're very right, and I actually made this point to Tom last time we were at the Grand Prix. Is I think a few years ago I felt like there was a lot of people going to be there to get the Instagram shot, but now, especially this year, that I noticed is they probably know more than me. Like they are real fans about F1, and it's actually incredible. It's really amazing to see.
And obviously we're big on social media, and that's the new thing now. It's not the new thing, but for these F1 fanatics, I mean, it's incredible. And to get 100,000 people on a Friday practice, like that is just the most incredible thing. And I think the whole world will look at that and be like, that is just wild. Because you even looked at Catalunya on the weekend. I was watching free practice. There would have been 1/3 of the seats at capacity. Yeah, they got the crowd on race day, but people come to practice. That's that for me is the most amazing thing.
Yeah, we sold out on a Friday, which is the first time we've done that. And to be at gate opening each of the mornings and to see the crowds that were there, and mainly younger demographic, lining up so they can run straight to Melbourne Walk.
The Melbourne Walk,
to get there and watch their favourite drivers roll up is just incredible. And that Melbourne Walk, to actually see as the drivers are coming along and the atmosphere and whatever else, and having now spoken to quite a few of the teams and a couple of the drivers, they love it. They love the atmosphere. It's what they talk about when they think about Melbourne. They think about Albert Park, and so being on the doorstep of the city. But Melbourne Walk comes up every time.
Yeah, and you see a lot of tracks now are trying to emulate that because it's such a success. And it's great for both. I think the drivers. I mean, there'll be some of them that probably dread walking in the morning, but they've got to give back. I mean, how they've grown in the last few years as well as a entity in themselves. I mean, they have to give back to the fans. Yeah,
and I think it's probably one of the things I've noticed, particularly coming from AFL to motorsport, is the drivers still, and I think about F1, the drivers still understand their obligation back to fans and to the media. And so to think that as these guys are walking towards their car on the grid to jump in and drive at 300 k's an hour, they've got a microphone stuck sort of under their helmet, is incredible. The access they provide. And I remember last year, I think might have been the Friday or Saturday, we were leaving the track quite late, and there was Zach Brown walking along Melbourne Walk signing autographs from the start to finish, and it would have taken him an hour. And he's got to do that the next week and the week after. And so we are incredibly fortunate to have the drivers and the teams who, notwithstanding all the increase in popularity and everything, are still very grounded and understand the importance of being connected to fans.
It is everything. It really is. Like, the fans do drive it. As being the CEO, there has to be some perks. Do you get like a 2-seater hot lap on a bike or in the car? And then if you do, can you put Tom and I and Daniel on one as well?
I don't know if I'll fit in the 2-seater, but
I did a hot lap at Sandown.
Okay.
I must say, it's one of the sort of more daunting things I've done in my life.
Yeah.
I remember Jamie Whincup was driving, and my guys didn't tell me too much because I probably would have pulled out. And so I jumped in the car and they strapped me in, and off he went. And I remember the back straight of Sandown. The one thing I remember is watching on the side of the wall when it says sort of 250, 200, 150, 100. I'm thinking, shit, he can't obviously read this. He's not going to hit the brakes here. And they sort of just go into the corner. The very last minute, they whack the brakes on and sort of fly around a corner. And it gave me an appreciation of, how good these guys are. And they do it for a few hours. I did for 2 laps and sort of took me a while to recover. So they are incredible athletes. And if you look at some of the stats that sit around the F1 drivers in terms of, I heard the stat that if they blink sort of 20 metres of track goes, when they go around a corner, they've got 35 kilos of weight on their neck, equivalent of 35 kilos of weight. And so these guys can do that for an hour and a half. There's a reason why there's only 20 of them doing it at the top level. Yeah,
it's interesting. Sometimes back, I don't know, 10 years ago, there was they used to have some wild cards for the F1s, and like they used to have I think his name was Yamamoto, who's a Japanese billionaire, and he came in and raced one race, and the third lap, his neck was like this. Like he lasted 3 laps in practice, and his neck went. So it's amazing what they do, and the training they have to do as well. It is incredible.
I was very lucky at one stage to be able to sit in the garage and listen to Oscar and Lando during qualifying, I think it was, and maybe even some of the race. And to listen to the engineers talk to them during the race, and the way that they would then be able to comprehend what they're saying, either listen to instructions and make changes, or just talk very calmly back, is incredible. Like you watch them on the screen, they're going around a corner at whatever pace they're doing, and making comments about how their tyres are feeling and what their settings are. They're extraordinary, what they can do. And for a guy that has to turn his radio down to park his car, I felt that quite extraordinary.
And all the settings on the steering wheel, like they'd say on the radio on the weekend, turn to Strat 3, level 2, and it's like they've got to do that on the steering wheel, like while they're going around, it's a different breed.
It is, breed. And it's why there's not many of them around the world.
It's true.
Yeah, that's a good point. Same with MotoGP riders, like all the devices they use while, riding around the corners or whatever, and they've got the whole body thrown out the side of a bike. I definitely couldn't do that, that's for sure. I'll be in the fence.
Well, thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Really, really good insight, wasn't it? Yeah,
really, really good. It's been a very interesting listen, that's for sure.
No, thank you. And I appreciate the opportunity. You guys are obviously doing an incredible job. You've got a huge following. So keep up the great work, and anything we can do from an Australian Grand Prix Corporation point of view, we're very happy to support you.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Hey, we've got one present for you. We bring gifts. We never come empty-handed.
I like this.
Kind of embarrassing. I mean, there's a lot of merchandise around the office, but
we didn't expect this, did we? This is for you.
This is very cool. Thank you.
To Stacey from HJC.
This will be pride of place in the office.
Well, hopefully.
Oh, very good.
We've got a 1-of-1 Motorsport Republica signed helmet for you.
Thank you. We'll get that up in the office with it framed and
beautiful. It might not be as cool as Casey Stoner's, but it's okay.
It's brand new. I know that. Yeah. So thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks, Travis.
Cheers. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Assen.
Yeah, Assen this weekend. Excited.
I'm so excited.
It's such a good track, and it's such good memories. Rossi's last win, Jack Miller's first win.
Yeah.
Changeable conditions. Lorenzo coming off collarbone surgery, came back, finished 5th. I mean, there's so many good stories of that track.
The cathedral speed.
It is, and it's one of those tracks like you'll put it in the same categories as Mugello, Le Mans.
Probably even special.
Maybe even like It's higher than
Well,
that.
it's the only track I believe on the MotoGP calendar that's been there from the start is Assen, old airfield. Like
Or why do they
most
call
tracks.
it TT?
Tourist Trophy?
Yeah.
I reckon they would have just because they used to run Assen on a Saturday.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Yep.
and then Sunday was for church. But obviously no one goes to church anymore. So since we found science,
They realised that it was more like the Tooth Fairy and the Father Christmas sort of thing. Oh, yeah, right.
oh wait, what? Father Christmas? What?
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, they run it on a Sunday now.
Until we found science. It's such a Joe Rogan podcasting to say.
Yeah, because we're Joe Rogan. That's right. I'll be bald and talk about jiu-jitsu soon.
We got Jamie over here as well.
yeah, we kind of copied that, but that's all right.
Oh, well, he's got, how many million people? We got 1,000, so it's all right.
No, we got more than that. Fuck.
Oh, yeah, true. 10,000, I should say.
Anyway, yeah, Assen. There used to be Saturdays, and there's been a lot of awesome stuff. There's been some great battles. How good's the last chicane, though? It just invites you in for like a last lap maneuver.
Yeah, I love the second last corner as well, the fast left-hander. Oh, sorry, the third last corner,
yeah.
the fast left-hander.
It's kind of banked as well.
Yeah, and they sort of like, you can see the rear tyre, like they sort of lean in and then just grips up. I
Yeah.
love seeing the bikes
Yeah,
through there.
that last section
That
is
could be my
amazing.
favourite spot to watch a bike.
I actually reckon, and I'll give away I already said who I think's going to win. I think it's Marquez. But I think that track is like a ballsy track. It's a track where you have to really lick the stamp and send it.
Yeah, I agree.
And like because you're on the throttle so hard, and it's kind of dips on you a little bit. It's so fast and flowing, but
I mean, after that, when the first sector and there's that tight left-hander onto the back straight,
Yeah.
there's that really fast right-hander there as well. That's a cool corner. And I always remember Fabio Quartararo on the Petronas
Yamaha.
back then, and he was chasing Marquez and he was getting that shudder through there with the wind.
Yeah. You got good memory of that
I
stuff.
always remember that and thinking, because like back then it was like, come on, beat Marquez,
yeah.
you know? It's just a great memory of how talented that. We forget how talented Quartararo is
of
on that
course.
bike, you know?
Yeah, he was incredible when the Yamaha was good.
I had an interesting tidbit from Damiano Garipoli, one of the,
Hey, shout out.
one of the top Rossi fans in the world.
Number one ticket holder?
Oh, he's getting close, I reckon. And we haven't heard from Dingleberry Handjob for a while, so.
Nah, he's banned us because I was borderline racist on India. Sorry,
that's
bro.
right, yeah. That was fair enough, but you were spitting facts. I mean, that's
That's all I do.
That's harsh. Okay, I'm not going to say I agree or disagree with.
Is this Damo?
This is Damo.
Okay.
If Rossi was currently riding, so at his age right now, which
I'm
is
already lost interest. We're talking about Rossi. Like, what's this got to do with anything?
if Rossi was currently riding
yeah.
on a factory Ducati,
Yeah.
would he win the world championship?
No, he's like 50 years old. He's 45, whatever he is.
Damo was over dinner last night. He's like, Tommy, I've been thinking about this all week. I said,
Did he mumble this through his beard?
he mumble anything. He's a very good speaker, actually, Damiano. Aren't you? He's listening to me right now.
Sorry, Damo.
I didn't think so. And I think the last couple of years on the Petronas, when that bike was a factory Yamaha, to a certain extent, when Quartararo was doing so well, he did nothing on it. He might have got... Did he get a podium? He might have got a podium.
Age just gets everyone,
Yeah.
man. Age just
Yeah.
gets everyone. You can't... We talked about this last week, how
Yep.
good Rossi was in 2004, and we watched that throwback, whatever.
Yes.
You can never doubt his talent, and he did even more for the sport
Yeah.
outside it. But just Father Time catches up on everyone, and it just happened to him. And it's sad to see. And him on a Ducati, unfortunately, no, he's not. Because Kevin Swan said it perfectly. If you ever watched the movie Faster, our favorite movie, 2001 season, Kevin Swanson's talking about, when he felt like it was time to retire, and he was going around Suzuka and he was going around corners and he was saying, oh, I've never noticed that barrier. I better slow up here. But when you're like a young kid and you're Marc Marquez or Jorge Martin or Pedro Acosta now, they have no fear because like their willingness to win, they would cheat death for it. But Rossi's won 9 world titles. He's older. His reflexes are going to be gone. He's probably not as strong. Yes, he's amazing, but
And he's got
the talent
he's
always
got the
just
wife,
comes
he's
through.
got the kid. I mean, that's got to change your thought pattern.
It's got to change. It's just,
Yeah.
and it happens to everyone, and it sucks to see because it's such a weird thing, even for me, still to not see Valentino on the grid. And he's the GOAT, but like, what do you? It's just, it is what it is. But no, if he's on a Ducati, people are gonna say when he's on his deathbed, when he's got his little boyfriend next to him because he's finally come out after 45 years, Yuchio, and they're going to say, I can still win.
Yeah.
This is not going to happen.
Oh, but you gotta love the passion. That's the Italians, though.
I love the passion, and I love Rossi. I really
they fight
do.
to the death, except World War II.
But you know what? I just don't think they're going to be as passionate about anyone else.
He transcended the sport.
He did. And Pecco's massive, and that's great.
I was listening to a podcast with Uccio. It was in Italian, but they had the subtitles, and they were talking about the transition from. I'm not sure if I've told this story on the pod before. The transition between Honda and Yamaha.
Okay.
And they got to Motegi, and the Honda guy said, "This is the contract. If you don't sign it this weekend, there won't be another one." He gets the contract, puts it in the fridge.
I don't know if you have said this on the pod.
I only found this out yesterday. I was watching this podcast.
Someone's told me this.
And so just for the listeners at home, and him and the weekend finished, Uccio and him were in the trailer. Honda came, hey, you got the signed contract? He goes, and they got it out of the fridge and said, no, we haven't signed shit. And they signed with Yamaha.
Yeah, wow.
And Yamaha weren't even thinking about signing him for the following year. They didn't think he's not gettable.
Yeah. He snuck into Yamaha's pits, Rossi, and sat on, I think it's Carlos Checa's bike. Because I read his book
But it was like the Honda rep said anyone could win on our bike.
Yeah, that was their mentality.
And then Rossi, like, he's just so, and that's why people love him. That's the thing. That's the difference with that kind of person, because he's like so ruthless and doesn't give a fuck. Like that's the other thing.
No, that's right.
Doesn't give a fuck about other people, what they say or what they think, and the whole thing. Even when obviously the incident with Simoncelli, like who the hell comes back from that and comes back and rides?
That's wild.
It's wild, and like
I don't know how we've never really spoken about that.
And publicly never showed any emotion to a certain extent. Like,
he was always been amazing with the media, and I swear he paid the Italian media off 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Wouldn't work in Australia, man. Everyone in Australia wants to see you burn and die. It's fucking, it's a tall poppy syndrome.
Tall poppy syndrome ever.
Like I was talking.
We actually have people picketing at the front of our Benzina studios right now saying, die, burn, die.
Yeah, we've got we do have protesters.
But it's true. I don't know how he can come back from that. But he did, and like, he's always talked really well. He's always used the media to his advantage. He's always been really good with the media. But like, getting back to it, like, it just the sport moves on, and it moves on really quickly at the same time. But you still see a lot of Rossi hats. But I just don't
100%.
don't think anyone's going to captivate a fan base like it. To an extent, it's an individual sport. It is. You've always an individual sport. You always still have a team, whether you're a golfer, a motorcyclist, a tennis player, whatever it is. You still got your team. But has there been an individual sports person in an individual sport that has captivated so many fans worldwide?
I don't think so.
As in, like, the hysteria of Valentino.
The hysteria, and it's like he was almost like a singer. When people get obsessed with, like,
Taylor Swift.
It was like his life. It was a religion,
Yeah.
And people still talk about him now as the best of all time. There's always going to be that argument. We touched on that. Daniel touched that a couple of weeks ago. Damn, he keeps bringing it up. So yeah, it's interesting, and I think the world's gone on from that, where social media is now dominant, and I don't know if people get obsessed with stuff. I don't know.
Look at Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's crazy. That is crazy. But who knows? Like,
I just think he's just that right time, just right time, right place, just right personality, and he just captivated everyone, and everyone loved him. Like, it's only and it's good to have the rivalries and everything, but he's the best to ever do it.
We'll see in a few years' time.
Yeah, but at least just for the media part
just
of
for
it.
the what he did
Just
for the
for the
sport. The
sport,
sport, that's the thing. It's the whole thing. It's like Michael Jordan.
Agostini's won 15 world titles, whatever it is, but everyone still talks about Rossi.
I mean, the thing is, what he did for the sport's the most amazing thing, and it's interesting. I mean, when someone leaves a sport, he's left it way better than when he came there. So,
for sure. Like, he's done so much. He's just an enigma.
Yeah, he is.
Remember we got a photo with him and you put his hand on his shoulder and old mate ripped your arm off him?
He was injured that weekend. That's why as well. He was hopping around.
You were putting weight on him.
Yeah, Uccio. Ucha. Good bloke, Uch. Seen him a couple of times.
So g'day.
Yeah. Anything on the rumour mill, MotoGP? I think Miller's like, I don't know where he's going.
Okay, so
Miller to Grassini, I hear now.
Grassini, rumors are Grassini,
Yeah.
Miller, Alex Marquez, Jack Miller.
That's a cool team. Don't mind that.
That's a good option.
But why wouldn't you bring up a Moto2 rider? Again, they're going for experience over young talent. And this has been a common theme with MotoGP.
Well, okay, they're bringing up Furman Aldegar. I don't know where he's going to go, but he's in a hot take, so we'll kind of talk about him then.
Yeah.
But he's going to go to Pramac.
Yeah.
But the thing with Pramac though is the Prima Pramac, the Prima part. That's I think they're an Italian team, but in their contract they have to have an Italian rider. So if they have Furman Aldegar and they might have to put, I don't know.
Morbidelli,
yeah, they need to have someone in there that's going to be Italian. So
is Prima the small goods? What do they do, Prima?
I don't know. I don't know what Prima is. I'm not too sure. But yeah, Jack Miller back. Yeah, to Grassini maybe, or Jack Miller to Grassini, I should say. I think it's a good move. So it looks like Juan Mir is apparently re-signing or re-signing. I don't know. He hasn't signed yet. So that leaves Honda gone. And if he goes to Grassini, it's really good. Even if they go a year.
On a 24 model Ducati.
Yeah.
It's going to be insane. Probably one of the best seats to be in at the start of the year next year.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So I hope he gets it. I hope he's on that bike with Alex Marquez. That's a really good team. And it keeps him in the paddock. And he's got a lot to give. He knows a Ducati to an extent. Granted, he's been off it for 2 years, but he still knows the bike to an extent. So, yeah, good on him.
Yeah, well, the next couple of weeks is going to be really interesting going through to see to finalise the rider market.
Yeah, well, you got Toprak.
Talk about that.
Yeah, Toprak.
What's going on there?
I don't know. Toprak's told BMW that he wants out. He wants to go to MotoGP, but it just kind of depends on what team. Like, where
he would have already spoken to a MotoGP team
for sure, 100%.
You can't just say that I'm going because he's got to find somewhere to go.
Well, 2 days ago, which was our Saturday night, it was like all but done. Bez is signed, but nothing's come out yet. I would have loved to see Aprilia sign Toprak because I think that bike would suit him. But
I think it's too much of a risk. I think he would be better on like a track house or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, does he go to a track house? Does he go? He's not going to go to a Yamaha, surely. Like a Pramac Yamaha, let's just say.
I don't think he fits on a Ducati at all.
Well, I don't know. I think he could, man.
No, but I mean, like, I feel that I don't think he would. He definitely would. I don't think Ducati would take him. They got already so much talent. So, like, why would they introduce another new rider to their program when they've already got Aldegar coming through? They're going to have obviously Marquez back. Like, there's too much going on already. I don't think they'll be hunting that. I think.
And then they want an Italian rider on that Pramac seat.
Yeah, exactly. So. If he was Italian, definitely that'd be a spot.
Italian or Spanish, you're like so much easier.
What is he? Turkish. Yeah. There's some talent in Turkey. You got the on shoes and
Keenan Sofoglu kind of runs his like own VR46 thing. So you got like on shoes.
Yeah.
Obviously him, Toprak. So yeah, that's cool. That's such a weird like random place for they've been developing talent, but hey, good on him. So anyway, who knows?
It's so funny.
Yeah, I hope Miller signs and stays in MotoGP. It's awesome for us Aussies, and I hope he does really well. Like it's a great seat. And obviously Toprak to somewhere, wherever that is.
Yeah. I mean, I can't think of anything off the top of my head except for a track house.
Yeah.
Why they've been holding off and not signing anyone.
There's got to be something there. It has to all come. Apparently, a lot of these signings are going to come late, though. I don't know about Toprak, but I reckon some of these signings are going to come late.
Great for MotoGP to get Toprak.
Needs to happen. Like they screwed the pooch of Johnny Ray.
Yeah.
Johnny Ray did a wild card ride in Aragon. Got fifth.
Yeah, I know.
Fifth or sixth.
Crazy.
And like, granted, there was probably like, it was during the times where there was like 13 riders on the grid.
Yeah.
But still, it's still a good effort. So
Yeah. Crazy effort. Well, you looked at Bautista came in last year, didn't he? He didn't do much on that bike.
Bautista.
Who wild card in Malaysia last year?
Oh, yeah. He was injured though.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, fair enough. I'll give you that one.
But then he went, I think he did a ride at Phillip Island, Bautista, and did pretty well.
Not last year though.
Not last year.
No.
Maybe a year or two
Yeah,
ago.
no, I remember him going all right, but he wasn't. Was that on a factory Ducati or was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember.
From memory, I don't.
Phillip Island's always a bit hazy though because
It is,
we're very
Well,
intoxicated.
Zarco wins last year. I mean, how crazy is that?
I know. That felt like a lifetime ago now on the Saturday.
Yeah, on the Saturday as well.
Yeah, it's typical Phillip Island. Can't just have a normal weekend in that joint. I swear to God.
I know.
But yeah, that's really MotoGP, to be honest. It's just last thing, Pedrosa Lorenzo boxing match.
Yeah, what happened there?
So there's this. I don't know anything about this Pedrosa Lorenzo boxing match. I don't know anything about it, and it's on like DAZN Sports or some shit.
So was it like a charity thing or?
It was supposed to be some like charity thing. Anyway, it got
Go round by round.
it got like cancelled. It didn't make the first rounds. This is what it was. There was no punches, but there was brutal honesty. So they just sat in the boxing ring and talked about their rivalry.
No. What? Cheeseburger didn't look cheeseburger either, by the way.
Yeah, he didn't lean up, and maybe that's a sign that something was going on because Cheeseburger was putting on weight for the fight, and normally you're going to drop weight. Normally you can't wait. You sit in the bath of salt. So Danny Pedrosa and Jorge Lorenzo did not fight, but instead sat in the boxing ring to tell each other some brutal home truths. The ex-MotoGP rivals had bizarrely promoted a boxing match to finally settle their grudge. But when the time came on Thursday night, the boxing itself was postponed. Instead, Pedrosa and Lorenzo interviewed each other for Spanish TV DAZN, who they both work for. Pedrosa was quoted as to saying to Lorenzo's face, "Now that I have you in front of me as my rival in this ring, before the fight, I would like to know who I am facing. Therefore, my first question is very simple. Who are you?" And they just talk to each other.
No.
So that's probably the biggest letdown of all time.
A big letdown. The other thing is just a promotion thing. That's all it
I
was.
guess so.
But what have been postponed? Does that mean there still might be fighting?
I don't know. I don't know anything about it. And if anyone knows any more, just write into us because I haven't even really looked into it.
No.
I've just kind of laughed at it. And then they kind of just talk about how they didn't like each other. But it was
I didn't realize they didn't like each other.
yeah, they hated each other.
God. But did Lorenzo get along with anyone though?
Max Biaggi, and that was about it. So
Oh,
that
that
says
tells you
everything.
something.
Well, the King of Spain, when they were on the podium, made them handshake.
That's
Lorenzo
right,
and Pedrosa. So anyway, that was just a weird thing that happens. Very strange.
Very strange.
Let's go on to our hot takes.
Ooh, the listeners soon becoming probably our biggest segment, I would say.
Yeah, it is our biggest segment.
I think it's great fan interaction as well.
Yeah, I love listening to everyone's shit takes,
Yeah.
good takes, and all
And the
their
other thing
questions.
is, we don't just want motorsport ones. Anything.
Yeah,
Give us
You
anything.
can ask us what Doritos we
Don't
like.
give us like what does everyone think of like the nuclear power coming to Australia and shit like that? I don't care. We'll talk about it. Peter Dutton might be get back in, eh?
I don't know anything about. They're going to talk to Superbike about that.
Hey, just bury your head in the sand. It'll all go away.
Yeah,
all
that's what that too. If anyone's listening, just don't listen to mainstream media, right?
Channel 9 News, bro. That's my favourite station.
Yeah, you're going to put a chip in your head.
I already did that with the jab, bro. What are
How
you
far
talking-
else 5G, bro? The pigeons are watching. Epstein's Island was true, but
Yeah, true.
it's getting serious now.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything about that.
Would have gone there. Sorry, bro. All right, at Kyle Holmes _07. The true GOAT of MotoGP is Nick Harris, best commentator ever from South Africa.
Great
Shout out to
call.
South Africa.
That is such a good call. And you know I love Nick Harris.
I knew you would have liked this one.
Yeah, I love Nick Harris. And what he brought you, he came into your living room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Commentators, they're just as important as the race
They are
itself.
so important, and that's such a great take, and I totally agree. I do really miss listening to Nick.
Yeah.
And
he was a
would love to meet him one day. It'd be amazing if he came to Phillip Island. It'd be very
Yeah, you'd probably only see him at like a Silverstone or something.
yeah.
These
Well, he
days.
might be there.
He used to commentate so much other sports. He used to commentate 500cc Grand Prix motocross
Yeah.
racing.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just got such a distinctive voice, and when I think Barcelona Lorenzo Rossi. I don't think Lorenzo Rossi. I think of Nick Harris's commentary. And Rossi going to the last corner and like him just talking so fast and like his head was going so fast. And that's such a great memory, you know?
Yeah, that's
and
just
Rossi
so
on
much.
the inside, he just like mumble, like it's just such good time.
And the early years, for us anyway, you would only watch the race.
Yeah.
So you'd only see him on like a Sunday night.
Yeah, true.
You know, at 10 o'clock at night or midnight because it was on replay sometimes. So it's a great take.
Great take.
At pod favorite ASPK racer, Special Ed 11. Ducati will regret signing Furman early and letting proven talents of Martin and Bastianini walk. Great take as well.
Great take.
Oh, yeah, you're right there, Sheesh. Went down the wrong hole. That's how much of a good take that was. Is it's just choked on the take.
Sorry. I'm normally an expert at the wrong hole, but that was not good. Great take, Special Ed. And we all called that from the start. Like,
Yeah, that was such a shit call by Ducati, seriously.
to lose Martin,
He had 5 good races.
I know.
And they signed him on 5 good races. I could have 5 good races.
Yeah, you could. But yeah, to lose Martin is going to bite them in the backside. I'm still not. I know you and Daniel love Bastianini, and yes, he did some amazing things on that Grassini when he was there. But for me, he's still not 100% proven to be a championship winning.
I understand what you're saying, but I guess the question's going back to Furman is like they shouldn't have signed him.
No. Yeah, but the thing is, they were going to lose Martin anyway. It's not anything to do with Aldeguer.
I would rather have Bastianini over Furman Aldeguer.
That's true. 100%. That's a great take.
That's probably
totally
where
agree.
this question lies.
Yeah. Totally
Is
agree.
I would
on
have
that.
Bastianini over Furman Aldeguer.
Yeah.
Bastianini won a Moto2 world title as well.
And in my opinion, Ducati is now here. It's taken over Repsol Honda, like 100%.
Oh, for sure, yeah, of course.
Like it's if you want to race in Formula One, you want to race for Ferrari. You want to race for MotoGP. You want to race for Ducati. It's not Repsol anymore. Let Aldeguer go through the ranks. Let him have another year in Moto2. Let him sign for a Aprilia KTM. Let him come.
Sign him for it, yeah. Like,
Let him come through the ranks, and then he'll want to come to Ducati eventually.
Yeah, it's just a
Don't
big risk.
Put all your eggs in one basket with this guy so soon.
I just think just signing, or you get him into Primac a year later. But I think for now he's just too.
Yeah.
He's not a Pedro Acosta.
No.
And we could eat our words so bad right now, and I hope we do, but I just don't see it. I don't see it.
We all thought we were all surprised by that when it happened.
Yeah, I think everyone was.
Yeah.
I think the Tardozzi's sniffing too much something.
Yeah.
That's Willie_Nels. Will BMW enter MotoGP in 2027? And will it be VR46 at the helm?
Who called that early?
Yeah, you did. There's absolutely no rumours of that happening whatsoever, VR46.
But T-Shavs called that early. It makes sense. Obviously, Ross's affiliation with BMW in the World Endurance Championship. So, yeah, I think that would be a great move.
Do you think that's going to happen, though, because Rossi has a bigger affiliation with Yamaha, being a Yamaha ambassador, and he's still not there?
I personally think the BMW rumours are now going to be sort of put to bed, because otherwise you'd think Toprak would have just stayed in Superbikes for another 2
I reckon
years.
BMW's going, but I think Toprak's times, like, he's got times against him. He's just got to get into the paddock.
Gotcha.
And with the new regulations, I think Toprak has to be there, and BMW is the perfect time for them is in 2027. And if VR46 does that thing, I wouldn't like that. I don't really like BMW bikes. I think they're boring.
But they're so popular now. Like that S1000. I mean, James, you're going to buy a 1000cc sports bike.
I'm not buying that.
It would be right up on my list. Right up on my list.
I would rather an RSV4 or a Panigale over S1000 WR.
Curtis, what do you think?
What do you think?
MV Agusta if it was reliable.
Yeah.
But it's not.
It's not. No.
So I'm thinking if I'm going to spend my money on a sports bike, 1000cc.
Does MV even have a 1000cc sports bike?
I believe it's the Brutale.
That's not a sports bike, but
Oh, well, then you go the F4.
Yeah, not talking naked bikes. I'm talking.
The F4.
okay.
That Brutale is a nice bike.
Yeah, it's cool.
R1, or you'd be looking at the
R1.
Ducati.
Yeah, no way you pick an R1 over an S1000. Come on, Curdy.
I think the R1's cooler than an S1000. The
Oh.
S1000 looks ugly.
Okay, move on.
I'm not a fan. I'm
Move
just not
on.
a fan of BMW bikes.
No, that's fair enough.
At Nikki D3604, could a mature and more experienced Simoncelli have been a rival to a prime Marquez?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I know. He would have done what probably Dovizioso did.
That's a great call.
You know, like he would have been there or thereabouts. He would have won some races, but no. I mean, the other thing is
I think no one's just stopping Marc Marquez.
just a big size difference there as well, weight difference.
Yeah, but look at Rossi. Rossi's the same.
Yeah, true. But that I think that became more apparent later.
It would have been a great rivorry.
Yeah.
That would have been a great rivalry.
Imagine like the passing of the baton as well between Rossi and Simoncelli. And then he'd be like, you go get him now, mate.
But
you
they
know?
were so... Simoncelli was just as aggressive as Marquez. He broke Pedrosa's collarbone, but his best shot of winning a title. But Pedrosa sneezed the wrong way and he broke that collarbone.
It was...
But yeah, that would have been a great rivalry. The battles they
and
would have had,
we've been, you know, it would have been amazing, and obviously how terrible that happened, you know. But
yeah. But people forget, like, it is absolutely terrible. People forget this is still one of the most dangerous sports in the world. Same with Formula One and all these racing. Like, when shit goes south, it can go south real quick. Look at Austria.
You know, we were talking about 04 Magello. I didn't realize the same weekend was that huge accident for the Japanese rider. I'm going to say Nakagami, but not sure.
Definitely not.
His rear wheel locked up.
Oh, that was Nakano. Kawasaki, I reckon.
Yeah, that was the same weekend. His rear wheel locked up at 300 k's an hour down the straight or something. Lost it on the front straight. You should see his body barrel rolling on the straight.
That's bad. That's one of the biggest crashes ever.
It was insane.
As good as Michele Piro's, I reckon.
Yes, it was probably worse. Oh, no, Michele Piro's was terrible.
That was bad.
Marquez had a bad crash on that corner as well. His chin.
Yeah, he's had a few. He's definitely had a few. At Mexican 17, if Aprilia signed Bez, it's the perfect signing. Both are inconsistent, sometimes good, sometimes shit.
Yeah, Bez has been inconsistent over the last few years as well. Like I remember, and this is a classic example. He was up there top five in 2022, and then finished like 16th in Jerez.
Is he overhyped?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think if he signs,
I don't agree. I say yes.
Yeah. If he signs for Aprilia and doesn't do anything, then yeah, he's overhyped. But who knows? Other riders are making that 2023 Ducati work.
Yeah, look at Marquez. I mean, I know he's one of the best to ever do it. But
at Russell Rosario, Newey to Aston would be a better move for his legacy than a move to Ferrari.
Yes. God, if he comes into Aston Martin and wins a championship on a car that's never won a race, that would be crazy. But if he came to Ferrari, you know, and Hamilton won a championship or Leclerc won a championship, I don't know. He'd be loved more.
Okay.
He'd be loved. He'd be.
Has he already won titles of Ferrari?
No, he's never been at Ferrari before.
Oh, okay, right.
So I don't think he's ever worked for an Italian manufacturer before. It's all been British or German or, in this case, Austrian.
Yeah,
you know?
Gotcha. Yeah, Ferrari would be bigger, wouldn't it?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's hard. I mean, he would be if that happened and he won at Aston Martin. Oh my God, full praises, the best to ever do it, the best whatever. He's already probably has that.
Yeah.
But if he went to Ferrari, they would build a fucking if he won a championship, they'd build a statue of him. You know. I don't know about building a statue of Hamilton, but they'll build a statue of him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
It's a great take though.
It is a great question because, winning a Ferrari, that has to be the pinnacle.
Yeah. And coming back after they haven't won for so long as well.
Yeah.
They haven't won since 2007.
Okay.
Kimi Räikkönen. Like it's been 15.
It's a drought.
It's been 16 years, you know.
And they owned the early 2000s, I guess, didn't they? Or the 2000s. Ha_Melbourne. MotoGP has the perfect storm with all the rider situations where F1 is dying because they're all too friendly.
Okay, yeah. Well, we talked about this with MotoGP riders before as well, with the friendliness.
Yeah. I think they're all pretty friendly in MotoGP.
You just can't be. It just doesn't work for you in the long run to be an asshole anymore. It's just weird. The social media aspect of things have changed. Like
Changed it, yeah.
You looked at Vinales and Bagnaia in that sand trap. They were punching each other and they were shaking hands 10 minutes later.
Not even.
Yeah,
A minute later.
Like it's. I just don't get it. If I was in my position, there'd be no friends. Nah, you're there to win. You're there to win races. You're there to win championships. But this day and age, I think
we've spoken about it so many times. All the best have done it. They've all been ruthless and created enemies.
Well, Max and Lewis are probably the two outliers where I don't think they are friends with anyone in the grid. I don't think they're best bugs. I think they have their own network of people, and then that's all they really talk to and travel with. So, yeah, I mean, I think Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris are really good mates. I think Russell and I think Norris is probably the one that everyone's friendly with.
I was going to say, I think Max and Lando are kind of half friendly, aren't they?
Max and Lando are half friendly, but I don't think you'd see them at each other's houses kicking a footy out the back or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm cooking a barbecue. Like, I don't think, they're friendly at the track.
Lando will be bowling bouncers at
Nah, definitely not. I don't think so. I don't think Max cares, to be honest. Like, he just does not give a shit, and I think that's the best way to be.
You know what's a crazy stat? I shouldn't say stat. It's not a stat. Crazy thing we heard just before we started this pod, that he's got his own sim racer in his private jet.
Yeah.
Like, he's probably the coolest thing I've ever heard.
I know. His jets, I think he's the only one with a private jet as well. You think of all the money that Hamilton's got. I think Max is the only one with a private jet, so which is interesting.
Hamilton's still flying economy. Jetstar. Missing all his flights.
I think you'll find that he would have a private plane, but he probably just rents it or something. Like that. If it flies or floats, you rent it.
If it flies, fucks, or if it floats, flies, or fuck, you rent it.
Yep. Thanks, David Shaw, for that one.
If you work in sales, you've definitely heard that one. At Kingy, instead of heading to shitholes like India and Borat lands, sends MotoGP to Spa. I'm just reading the questions. Don't at me.
It would never work with Spa, with Eau Rouge. Just not enough runoff.
They race endurance motorcycles there.
I know, but there's no way they would take them there.
They wouldn't. I know they wouldn't.
It's like Suzuka. There's no way they would go back there. Probably the two best tracks in the world.
I know. And for motorcycling.
I know. That first sector is just incredible.
At Suzuka. Yeah. It would be so cool to see them at Spa, but you're right. It'll never happen. Like,
no.
And with the aero and the downforce, like, they're already just on like a nice edge.
Well, you look at like the straight after the Eau Rouge.
Yeah, top of the hill.
You've got like that much room on the left side, that much room on the right side. There's not a lot, like if something happens, you're dead, you know? Like you look at all these modern circuits, there's so much more room around. So
there's not much runoff in a few. We know Spa very well from PlayStation back in the day. But when you go down the hill and there's that big sweeping left-hander, the first of those two, there's no room for error there. No. There's no runoff at all.
There's no runoff.
It'll never work, but hey, a boy can dream.
They can.
Watch some endurance racing. Then you can get your motorcycle fix at Spa. At Luke Miller _6, Taka would be a good test rider for Honda.
Taka Nakagami?
Yeah.
A good probably not.
I think that's what he's been doing for the past 3 years.
I don't know, if he's staying on the bike, then maybe, like if he does some laps.
I think he would be. I actually think he's got at least a good base of what's not so good. I think you still need to have like a world champion rider on there. Like they screw the pooch of Danny Pedrosa.
Yeah.
But they still need like even Lacia Spargo. He's a proven person that can develop a bike.
Yeah, no, he'd be a great test rider.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And Jack Miller, I think, would be as well.
Yeah. Great call. At Luke Miller, again's got another good one. Jack Miller will go to Aussie Superbikes and win the championship.
Nah.
Not going to happen.
It's just not big enough.
Nah.
AUSGP is just not. It's just not big enough.
He would win the championship though.
Yeah.
One more from Luke, sorry. World Superbike has peaked now, and Kawasaki and Bonovo BMW are leaving.
Kawasaki altogether.
Well, they're going to Bermuda.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. Interesting.
That's a Daniel question.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think World Superbikes to a degree has peaked. I think it has dropped off. Like you look at some of the crowds in Europe, it's pretty dismal.
We had a great time down this year. I think it was an amazing event, but yeah, I mean, Top Rack leaving is going to hurt them massively.
Yeah, I don't know what Superbikes need to do, to be honest. I really don't. It's just they need to change something up because it's had its glory years, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It's good to watch though.
Yeah, it's good to watch, and they do a great event down at Phillip Island, as you would have just heard from.
It's great to go to, but yeah,
Travis.
like it doesn't. It's not like MotoGP. It just needs it probably just needs more fan interaction. It's still very old school, where they just need to bring a bit more glamour to the World Superbikes. I think that's what it needs. It needs a bit more glamour.
Glamour, yeah, not as backyardy.
Yeah, for sure. At Chris_Seps, #1 ticket holder.
Hey, Chris O.
I want a breakdown of the cheeseburger versus horse jockey fight. Well, we talked about that, but I wanted to read him out anyway. At Braden_Hardcastle. Top motorsport categories: MotoGP, #2 MX, #3 World Superbikes, #4 F1. What's your lads' top ones?
Oh, well,
That's
F1's
his.
the biggest motorsport in the world. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about that.
Yeah.
MotoGP would be second. Third, probably World Endurance now.
You wouldn't say NASCAR?
Would I say NASCAR? No, I would still say World Endurance is bigger now than NASCAR. And then it would be NASCAR, then probably Indy,
Okay.
and then Superbikes. Then I don't know anything about off-road motorbikes.
MX.
I
MX
just-
is big. Like you got MX AMA, and then you've got MXGP.
Yeah.
But I think they are not bigger than NASCAR or Indy or...
It's just not
Endurance.
big here either. That's the thing. It's just not big in
Our
Australia.
Australian championships
Yeah.
nowhere. Like, it's just Australian markets.
I think personally more people would watch NASCAR in Australia than they would Supercross.
Nah, I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I don't agree with that.
I wonder what the viewing ship's like. I mean,
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't even know how you'd watch Supercross.
Yeah, well,
That's the problem.
It sucks to watch. You got to get... Oh, there's... thank you, Curdy, with our dinner. Appreciate it, mate. Cheers. Keep it warm for us, please. Well, with the Supercross, you have to download their pass.
Yeah, this never works. It never works.
It sucks. And I love watching the Supercross and the Motocross. And when we've already spoken about, we've got like Jet Lawrence and Hunter Lawrence. It's like the two best in the world right now. Definitely the best in the United States. And, you know, you don't see and hear anything of them.
No.
It's ridiculous. So, yeah, I don't know.
Great question, though. Thanks,
Yeah.
Braden's probably his first good question of the year.
Oh, come on, bro.
Nah, I love you, mate.
At Adzi_the_doc_jub. Carrot jerk off to Trackhouse Racing.
God. I don't know about that. But
Not-
why wouldn't you sign Roberts?
Yeah, not
Like,
happening.
Yeah, nah. Shit one.
I just like him saying carrot jerk off. At Mr. J Pole, this is for you. I hate special liveries. Hashtag I stand of Tom.
Oh my God.
Historic ones are okay.
No, yes. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, plug the name again.
At Mr. J Pole.
Yes, Mr. J. Paul, I totally agree. Historic ones, fantastic. Special liveries, no. Because it's all about sponsorship and all that crap these days. So, no. Great take. Thank you so much for that.
You're telling me it's about sponsorship. You wouldn't want to
James,
see a
they've
cool
he's
old
never
school.
heard that before. He's never heard it before. And he's heard the pod. He's gone, oh my God, someone agrees with me. And there's thousands around, I'm telling ya.
If there's thousands, I want to hear more of them
Yeah.
because the amount of messages of hate that you've got,
Let them hate. Haters gotta hate. Haters gotta hate.
you're ridiculous.
Thanks, bro.
At Jared.
Pornhub, what are you doing?
Okay. Why'd you type in furries on that?
No, that was my recent search.
At Jared.Madsen. Moto 2 and 3 need their own social media accounts.
Yes, yeah, that's a good call. I mean, F2 and F3 do.
I don't know. I don't know. It's not big enough yet.
Yeah. I think I agree.
I actually think it would be harder to get people into Moto 2 and Moto 3 without if they weren't in their prime social media account. Because I don't know anything about F2 or F3 and I don't follow it.
But it is different. You got to remember, like, if you win a Moto 3 World Championship, this is always a contentious issue for me. You're a world champion. Okay? I hate that.
Yeah, you do hate that.
If you win an F3 championship, you're not a world champion, you know? I always hate that terminology of being a world champion.
It's been more of a La Familia, though. Moto 2,
Correct.
Moto 3, MotoGP compared to
So
F2, F3.
I actually say no. I think them having one most social media account because MotoGP is all three categories.
Yeah.
And that's how they treat it.
Yeah, okay.
Would you agree?
I think it should stay in as one account
Yep.
for now, anyway.
Yep. I just agreed and then disagreed and agreed again. So
Yeah, I know you did. You agreed because you weren't listening at the start. At Zalaya _ who is the best one-time MotoGP world champion? That's a great question.
I don't know long enough ago.
Okay, so you got Quartararo.
Didn't he win twice?
No. Mir.
Yeah. Yep.
Hayden.
Yep.
Schwantz. 1-1.
Junior.
Kenny Roberts Jr.
Yep.
That's as much as my history can tell. Wayne Rainey 1-2, obviously Doohan won a few. Barry Sheen, I think, 1-2. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
That's a hard question.
I don't think Mir, for me, it's not. He didn't deserve that championship. Quartararo, for me, as a modern MotoGP fan, would be probably the best. But then Nicky Hayden, I mean, wow.
Nicky Hayden's great because he came from a different background. He came from AMA Superbikes into MotoGP.
Yeah, I always felt.
I don't know, it's crazy.
I always hated the fact that he won one race that year. I don't know. It always just didn't sit with me right that someone could win one race and then be a world champion.
The Mir effect.
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
He won the last race of the year, didn't he, Mir? Did
Valencia.
he win Valencia? Yeah.
Yeah, look, for me, it's probably Quartararo. My head says Quartararo, my heart says Nicky Hayden. Because like, you can't not love
I don't
Nicky
think
Hayden.
we've seen the last of Quartararo.
Oh, Crivier, he's a one-time world champion.
I don't think we've seen the last of Quartararo yet. I think he's still got a massive chapter to play in his career.
And how old is he? 24?
24 or 25 now.
Crazy. That's all our hot takes.
Beautiful. Thanks, guys.